Once upon a time, a man drew a little mouse, and his animated vision enchanted children of all ages. This summer, that man will be spinning in his grave.
Oh my God, why?
Paramount Pictures and Warner Brothers present
Oh, sweet.
South Park,
This is gonna be the best movie ever. Hooray!
invading
Eric, did you just say the F word?
Did he say the S word?
Young man, did you just say the Q word? We have to get you children off of foul language.
your theater.
The machinery of the V-chip emits a small shock of electricity whenever an obscenity is uttered.
You're late, Cartman. I had to ride my back here. My behind is killing me. You're behind? I have to stay behind because I get shocked if I say...
Kyle Broslovsky.
This is sweet.
Hey everybody, welcome to You Have to Watch This podcast. I'm Alan,
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devon.
and today we're talking about South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. Before we do that, I've got to talk to you guys about something.
Okay.
So do you guys remember like a month and a half ago or 2 months ago, I canceled my Netflix account?
Yes.
And then, so I canceled my Netflix account just because we weren't watching it.
Yeah.
And I went to renew it like a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I think. And I still have my Netflix account. It's like, I didn't cancel it right. What the hell is going on? This is so weird. I did cancel it. My niece, who lives in New Jersey, who was sharing the account with us, put her credit card information on and renewed our Netflix account.
Oh, that's so cute.
I bring this up because she says she listens to the show occasionally when she's bored and has nothing else to do.
Oh, right.
You
Last
know what?
resort.
I think that explains most of our audience, though. So thank you for being bored and having
So
nothing
thanks,
else to
Pia. This is a shout out to you. I told you we would do it,
thank
so
you.
we are. So
Thank you for the credit card and the listen.
do.
I figured
Yes.
that was a fun story to share at the top. Well, I guess there was some confusion at their house too because her stepfather didn't know that they were sharing our Netflix account. So when it just went out, everyone was freaking out. Like they didn't know what was going on. So they're like,
Oh, I love
"Wait,
that.
why are Alan and Anna on this?" Like,
I
what-
think we stumbled on the new way to do pranks nowadays is just to cancel your subscription when you have like 3 people sharing it.
Yeah.
And just like the panic that ensues. That's a good practical joke.
Wait till like a
nowadays.
big release happens.
That's
Like-
a good practical
Like give
joke.
everyone your Disney Plus account and then just cancel it.
Oh, absolutely. Like the day like the last episode of The Mandalorian drops, just cancel it.
Ooh. That's too mean.
Sounds mean.
That's too mean.
It's too far.
Yeah. All right. So that's all I got for the top of the show. Let's dive right into it.
Okay.
All right. So
Okay.
today we are talking about one of my personal favorite movies, South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, a 1999 movie that is basically just South Park at that time, the movie. So before we get into like the movie and everything about that, I want to know about you guys and if you guys like what your experience is with South Park up until this point. So Ryan, I think you've seen the movie before. Alan's your first time. Ryan, what's your exposure to South Park?
I saw it shortly after it was released on VHS and DVD.
Ooh,
Um,
the 90s.
So,
What's your relationship with the TV show?
oh, I hardly watched it. I had friends in middle school that watched the show religiously, but I didn't like. It was funny because it was just stupid humor, but it wasn't enough for me to like watch every episode. So I'd only watch it whenever I was with my friends who were watching it. It wasn't until the show, like in its 7th or 8th season, that I started watching it like every episode. And then I dropped like 2 years later because I don't know, there were it was either season 6, 7, or 8 that was like their pinnacle of just creativity. And that's that section that I watched, like waiting for the new episodes to come out.
Okay.
But the movie itself was like my first actual like, hey, this actually has potential. I actually kind of like this. And I haven't seen this movie in forever. And just watching it reminded me of why I love this movie when I was 15, 16 years old.
Okay.
I love it. Alan, what's your relationship to South Park in general?
In general, I don't have one.
No?
I know enough to get by. I think I could name all of the guys. I probably get one or two of them switched around. South Park was never really a show that I got into.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's because I wasn't allowed to watch it or it's just something that didn't really appeal to me. Like, I love The Simpsons. I've always loved The Simpsons. I liked Family Guy for a bit, but I never really got on board for South Park.
Okay.
So
You guys we all have different relationships then, because I love it. I am current and up to date. I've seen every episode, I think. There's probably a few in there that I missed, but I played both video games. The only ones that count, by the way.
Because they've pretty much moved into doing video games now, right? Like that's their big...
So during the N64 days, they had like a first-person shooter where you like threw snowballs at each other, and that was dumb. But now they have Stick of Truth and Fractured Butthole. And it's like making fun of like Lord of the Rings is the first one, and making fun of superheroes is the second one. And honestly, they're kind of excellent. Like, I really love the video games they do.
I really like the snowball one.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
I never played it.
Okay, boomer.
That's awesome. So it is. So Alan, you said it was your first time like really watching anything South Park.
There was one episode of South Park that I saw in high school, and I think you were there with me because you got excited for me watching this. It was the episode that was the 24 parody.
Oh yeah, that's right.
With the bomb in Hillary Clinton's coot.
The snook and the sniz.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I saw that episode.
Yeah,
but other than that, I know the bits about like Tom Cruise and him being in the closet.
Like the popular things.
Yeah, the popular things. The things that they make fun of at the Emmys.
Right.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, I knew enough to get by. Like, oh my God, they kill Kenny.
Right, like like the things that disseminated into popular culture.
Yes.
What did you think of the movie then? Being your first time really, really diving into a South Park thing.
So I've talked about this before. I listen to the CinemaSins podcast a lot. And they always praise this movie as one of the best musicals that of the last like 20 years. I've got to say, I enjoyed it.
Yeah?
They hyped it up for me, so I was excited that we were doing it for the show. Because this has been on my list for a while, like very low on the list, but it's been there.
But on the
yeah, like the only way I was going to watch this movie is for the podcast, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
it was funny. It was everything it needed to be. It was timely for when the show came out.
Yeah,
which we'll get into then. But no, I really enjoyed it. It was fun. I don't know if I'd ever watch it again, but I'd probably go back to YouTube and listen to the songs. Like, I think I already did for the soundtrack check for the day. I listened to Blame Canada.
Oh, I love it.
So.
Okay, Ryan, what did you think?
The first time or this last time?
Let's do both.
The first time I saw it, I was laughing at the collection of swear words half the time because I was like 15, 16 years old. So like that's what I was laughing at. Just like how they were laughing at Terrence and Phillip in the movie theater, like repeating those like ridiculous like sentences that they were saying. And then I saw it once when I was another time when I was in college, and that's when I was looking up the pop culture references, like when they were like how Canada had already apologized for. What was his name? I think he was a swimmer, but I'm not sure. When the mom and the Canadian ambassador were talking on the news.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There was that. But then this last time watching it, I just kind of smiled throughout the whole thing, and because it just brought back memories of when I was like a 16-year-old kid just watching this and laughing all the way through it because of just the ridiculousness of it. I mean. This time, though, the difference between watching it before and now was that I was like, oh, this sounds like this song from this musical. And, oh, this sounds like this song from this musical. And, like, picking that apart.
If nothing else, this made me really want to go see Book of Mormon on Broadway.
So wait a minute. Before we keep talking about this movie, this is really important. Have either of you seen Book of Mormon?
No.
No.
Oh man, I've seen it 3 times now. You guys gotta. It's so good.
Maybe that'll be the first Broadway show we do for the podcast. Like, you have to watch Book of Mormon.
Yes. You gotta sing this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, it's a show, so we can still do. You have to watch this. It counts.
That's true. So the first time I saw this movie, it was on Comedy Central, and it was super edited. So
I'd imagine.
Stan's whole subplot about finding the clitoris was like clearly not in it for really good reasons. So I'm used to seeing like a very neutered version of it, and then I think at one point when I was growing up, it was like on HBO, and I like got the full effect, and it like blew my little like 17-year-old mind. Okay. And I've probably watched this movie about once a year, every year, by accident since.
So you were like Cartman when he was in the principal's office saying that the movie had corrupted his tiny little mind.
Oh, it absolutely corrupted my tiny little mind. The one thing I wanted to bring up... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I can't believe this movie's 20 years old.
Yeah, me neither.
Because I was watching it, and I could have sworn it came out, like, just the Saddam Hussein stuff made me think it came out in, like, 2005.
Yeah.
But it still works for, like, 1999. Like, it...
Yeah.
And that's the one thing. So I did want to ask you guys that. You guys just watched it, and the one thing that comedy gets criticized for a lot is it doesn't age well, like, at all. Like, there are some comedies that, like, were hilarious when they came out, and then, like, 2019 you watch, and you're like, ugh, that was funny. How did this age for you guys?
I mean, it ages just as well as South Park in general does. Like, it's the same kind of humor that you're going to get from South Park, like an episode. Like, it's just they can say more. So I think it aged fine for what it is. I don't think there was really like the Saddam Hussein jokes play well now because he's dead.
Right. Right.
Didn't really play well in '99 when he wasn't. Right. But yeah, if you look at it as like a movie of the 90s, then I think it still works, like as a raunchy comedy of the 90s. I think it works better than something like American Pie, which came out the same year.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're right. I think I'm with you on that, because sometimes American Pie doesn't age as well.
No, American Pie does not at all.
I only have like a vague memory of what happens in that, so I don't remember all the beats.
He fucks a pie.
That's all I remember. That's the whole story.
There's a lot to the American Pie storyline that really wouldn't be considered kosher nowadays.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's that. But I mean, for me, the only points when I was rewatching this movie that I was kind of like, I'm not sure. Like for maybe like a younger person with this movie out of context, the issues with because it's. From my point of view, watching this as a teenager in like 2000, 2001, the aspect of Satan and Saddam Hussein having a gay relationship, it's really kind of hard to piece out now. Like nowadays, like could you make the argument that they just did that as like part of their characters? But unfortunately, when you watch it, it's like, no, that's kind of the joke. Like they made Saddam gay.
Yeah.
Because he was the leader of Iraq, which was an extremely religious, even though it was twisted, country. So, I mean, that doesn't really, like, that's kind of a cringe moment. And then when Cartman turns around, when he's singing Kyle's mom's
a bitch.
A bitch, and he turns around doing the different languages, and he's in blackface, doing the clicking. So, I mean, there are moments when it's kind of cringy, but at the same time, like the whole thing with Cartman fits with his character because his character is racist.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that fits for him. The only overall joke in the film that was written in that is kind of up for debate would be having Saddam Hussein and the devil have a gay relationship and the way that they depict it. But that's it for me. Everything else in this can just be like, look, it was the 90s. Like, you've got to understand the context of it.
You got to give them a pass for it.
It was a simpler time, the 90s.
I know, right? I think the only thing that could have been a problem was, like, Big Gay Al was just kind of a sight gag.
Yeah.
Like, Like his whole character, I think, is a little bit problematic without a little bit more context.
I mean, it technically in the first like 4 or 5 seasons, his character is a bit of a problem.
Oh, absolutely, he is.
Because
I mean,
that's
he gets better,
his character.
but
Like
not
that's
much.
the joke of his character is that he's gay.
See, I didn't know he was a character on the show. I thought that was just something for the movie. So that's how little I know about South Park. I know that Chef's gone pretty soon after the movie.
Oh yeah.
So here's a
So
question.
you don't know. Oh, go ahead.
Do you think they could make a sequel to this movie today? Do you think South Park could do a hour-and-a-half long, uncut, uncensored version of the show?
Unequivocal yes from me. I think they
Yeah.
definitely could, and I think they'd knock it out of the park.
Same here, especially from those 2 seasons that I watched. Like every week, I was waiting for a new episode to come out because there was one episode I think that they could kind of pull into a movie, just tweak it a little bit, and that's the one where everybody in South Park goes into their doomsday dungeons because it's the night of the 2008 election, or was it the 2000?
Yeah.
It was the election with Sarah Palin. So yeah, it was the 2008 election, and everybody comes out the next day, and it turns out that the reason why it was so divisive was because Obama and McCain were like jewelry thieves, and they plotted together to steal Jews, and they just wanted to destroy the country for a night, so they could like steal a diamond. I think they could pull that storyline and fit it with Trump, and they could make a movie out of it and be as crude, and it would be fine.
Speaking of Trump, not that we're going to get political, but Seth Meyers has a new comedy special on Netflix.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about this?
No, tell me.
So they added a feature for his comedy special where you can skip the Trump jokes, like an intro of the TV show. You can just hit a button and skip all of his Trump jokes.
Really?
Yeah.
It's because he does.
Interesting.
It's because he wants his money.
I really hope that it just skips to the end of the special. Like I haven't done it yet, but it's more of a inside joke for his fans, because no one's gonna watch a Seth Meyers special if they are not on Seth Meyers' team. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's true. That's true.
I
think it's an interesting inclusion, though.
Yeah.
Just because I can see where that could get a little bit tiring.
Okay. What else you got for us?
So, I got a bunch. So,
okay.
I have a couple of general questions just because I'm very curious to know, because I love this soundtrack, like a lot, right? And I have some facts about the soundtrack that I can tell you guys about afterwards, but I want to know what your favorite song was.
I really like the opening number. The Small Mountain Town. I really enjoyed that. Even like as soon as I was watching, I was like, "Oh, hey, that's going to be our outro." Like part about the movies is like perfect for this. I really enjoyed that one. Uncle Fucker was a fun one.
It is though. It's so catchy.
It's catchy.
I appreciated the Les Mis ripoffs towards the end.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Ryan,
what did you like?
The opening number, simply because it reminds me of Good Morning Baltimore from Hairspray.
Oh yeah.
Because that's exactly what it is. And the Big Fat Bitch one is those are my 2 favorite songs out of this. I mean, Blame Canada is just iconic from this movie. So I mean, I'm not even mentioning that one. But yeah, no, it's definitely those 2.
Yeah, I love that. I love all the songs. I think my favorite one, if I had to pick one, is the Les Mis La Resistance ripoff song. Just because I love that they're going off of the One Day More in Les Mis, and that's my favorite song from that musical. And I just really like musical medleys a lot. So like that kind of like scratches all of those itches.
Yeah.
But my couple of facts about the music, and I'm sure you guys know this, but in case someone doesn't, Blame Canada was up for an Academy Award in 1999. It lost to Phil Collins, and then the whole next season they did nothing but rip on Phil Collins.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Of course they did.
Yeah, because was it the local news from where I was living at the time, they actually had like a 30-second story on that. Believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember watching the news, and it was something towards the end of the season, because I think somebody in Phil Collins' camp like said something at some point at some interview or something about South Park, and they had like a little 30-second like thing on it. But yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. And then my other music fact about this is that, or I have another one after that. My second music fact about this is that Robin Williams performed Blame Canada at the 2000 Academy Awards, which is absolutely worth a watch if neither of you have. I love Robin Williams.
That's the best thing about the Oscars is when they get a different celebrity to sing the song.
Yeah.
Like that's always a highlight of the show for me. No, I'll definitely have to check that out.
And then my other third one, and this one was confirmed by Romana a couple of years ago, the Dutch part of Kyle's Mom's a Bitch isn't actually Dutch.
Oh, really?
But,
you had to have somebody
probably
tell you.
none of it is really the languages they say they is.
You had to have somebody tell you that wasn't actually Dutch.
I had to. I really had to. I needed to make sure.
So
Brian has his head in his hands, like he should.
Is it just gibberish then, or?
Yeah, it's pretty much just gibberish that's like a facsimile of the language.
Okay.
All of that stuff is gibberish. Every single one of it is just noises to make it sound like what it is, and that plays into Cartman's character because it's all ignorant.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the best way to put it.
I meant to have like a 3-word sentence there, but my throat just closed on me after I
You
said
also
that.
nailed it. It's just ignorant.
Yeah, and that's his character, so it fits.
Yeah.
It's like it's like in a movie that we'll probably see at some point, and I'll reference back at that point. But we'll go from there.
I can't wait to watch it then.
And
then my last music thing. Brian Boitano for the song "What Would Brian Boitano Do?" Had no idea they were going to use him in the movie. They didn't ask. They didn't check him about it. Someone later told Brian Boitano that they used him in the movie, and he goes, "Oh, I'm glad they like me so much."
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So
those are all my music facts.
Devon, here's you probably know this, but I just want to know if you do or not. Do you know how South Park actually got their break?
I have an idea, but I want to make sure that I'm right. What is it?
So the creators of South Park decided to make a short 15-minute, 20-minute little like skit. And it was, I think it was like Santa Claus versus Jesus or Satan versus Jesus or one of those things. And they showed it at a party that they were at where they were at a Christmas party, and they showed it to a bunch of friends who happened to be like actors and producers. And they and the people at the party liked it so much that a couple months later they were offered to make a pilot for the actual show.
Wow.
So that's how the show began.
So literally just like randomly, I'm going to show this thing at a party, and then it got them a show.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So always show your shit to people, even if they don't want to see it, because you never know what's going to happen.
Even if you don't think it's great, just show it to them.
Yeah.
Now, granted, like these guys were writers that worked on other stuff, and they were just at a party with people who could pull strings, and that's But still, like that's how it happened. So you can thank them making a sarcastic video about Jesus and Satan, or Santa and Satan fighting over Christmas.
And it started literally this whole TV show.
Yeah.
I love that. All right, so I get that some of the plot might have been like a little bit like formulaic, but did anything about it surprise you? Because I know that when I was younger and watching it, especially the actual uncut version, there were a couple of parts that I was genuinely surprised at, and a part that I kind of hated. So if you hated anything about it, let me know.
I think I was most surprised at the guest voices. Like George Clooney.
I wanted to bring that one up. I love that George Clooney's in this.
That surprised me. And then the fact that they have Conan O'Brien in this, but it's not played by Conan O'Brien,
right,
was hysterical to me, because I saw who played him. Like, I saw he was in it. I was like, wait, who's he playing? And then I saw it was Conan. I was like, That's weird. Do you know who plays Conan in this?
No.
No.
Lieutenant Commander Data.
Oh,
Brent
cool.
Spiner.
Nice. Spider.
Really? He plays.
Yeah,
Really?
he's Conan. He's Conan.
He's good at doing voices. Like,
feel like
he
they
is
could've gotten
really,
real
really good
Conan.
at doing voices.
I feel like they could have, and I've seen Conan in the South Park animation because he did the Emmys one year where he went through all these different TV shows. Like he was on a plane and it crashed on the island from Lost, and he went down a hatch and popped out in Dunder Mifflin. Then he was in South Park and he like ran into the closet. He's like, "Oh my God, somebody else is in there!" And then like Tom Cruise just comes out and closes the door. Like, so like I was used to seeing Conan O'Brien in this form as Conan O'Brien, but it was weird. Like it was just Brent Spiner.
Well, that's part of the writers' jokes on the show. Like they were famous for having, what was it? I think it was George Clooney, where he was supposed to be in an episode and he wanted to actually voice himself, and they said no. And instead, they had him bark for the dog that was in the episode. So the dog was George Clooney, but George Clooney himself didn't do his own lines for his character. Yeah. So, I mean, the writers do play with that a lot in this show.
Which I think is fun. Like, because of course they do. Like, if anyone's going to do something like that, it's going to be them.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, did anything surprise or make you mad about this?
Not really. I mean, the part that I probably laughed the most at was when Saddam Hussein and the devil are having their little argument in bed, and Saddam pulls out the dildo. With that.
Just waving it around.
And then it was 2001. I was still in my like Civil War like obsession of like learning about the Civil War and going to battlefields. I mean, I was in Boy Scouts, so like that kind of went hand in hand. And I had just finished learning about the Buffalo Soldiers, the black Union soldiers, but how they used them, like how the reason why they called them Buffalo soldiers was because they were the first ones to charge in, and they were pretty much used as human shields for the white troops so that they could get to the lines. And they did the gag with where they had Chef and all of the black characters as Operation Human Shield, and they were tied to the tanks and jets and everything. And that shocked me because I was 16, but I knew enough from what I learned about the Civil War and like Civil War, the Reconstruction era at that point, that was just hysterical to me. Just because how
you're like, oh, they're doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this. But it was great satire. Like, I mean, that's what that was. And I feel like that's what this movie is. Like, it's a giant mirror to, like, the hypocrisy of American culture at that time. And it still is.
Well, that actually brings up my next point that I wanted to bring up. So South Park, especially nowadays, if you watch it, is literally just a mirror on society. I mean, they did a whole episode last season on Uber scooters, or those bird scooters.
Yeah.
They did a whole episode on Amazon and, like, how their workers are being treated like crap. Like, that's just what they do, is they take topics and they just go, look at how weird you are. Did you guys find anything in here to be particularly well done as far as satire is concerned? Or did it kind of fall flat?
I think the best thing this movie does is address the criticism that they got for running South Park on television.
Yeah.
I think the whole movie thing that's just an allegory for South Park itself. Like, they do a really good job of addressing that and all the chaos that was surrounding South Park. And like, I'm sure there were moms petitioning against it. So, and it was timely for that, took place between the third and fourth seasons?
Somewhere around there. It was early on.
So I got to give them credit for that, because compared to like The Simpsons, who had the movie come out during like season 20, it's a little late at that point. They were like right on it, addressing everything right up front and making fun of themselves pretty much.
Yeah.
Whereas The Simpsons makes fun of itself, but the movie isn't really like timely. It's just like, here's a bigger story with a bigger budget and Tom Hanks.
With
like,
and with like way better animation.
Yeah. Well, and
didn't the animation like catch up to that at some point? Isn't it way better now too now?
For The Simpsons?
Yeah.
Yes, because now they're in HD.
like-
It looks a lot like the movie now.
Yeah, because I watched an episode the other day and it looks slick.
Yeah, it looks good. I still watch The Simpsons. I'm a bit behind on this current season, mostly because I didn't realize it came back. But now, the one thing I do respect South Park for is just their turnaround with their episodes. Like they're doing the episodes that week and putting them out on Wednesdays. Like, good for them. Like
Have you guys seen the documentary about it?
I've seen bits and pieces of it. I haven't seen the whole thing. I know Bill Hader's in it. So,
I've heard
I
about
didn't
it,
know
but
Bill
I
Hader's
haven't-
in it.
he's one of the production assistants because they filmed that back when he worked for South Park.
Gotta watch that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't seen it, but it didn't hit me about how quick their turnaround time was until there was that potential car bombing out in front of the studios in New York, and and Comedy Central had to make a decision on whether or not they could follow through on the script that they had written that was supposed to come out in 2 weeks. And I remember thinking to myself, hang on a second, they haven't drawn up that episode yet? Because it was supposed to be 2 weeks to when that episode was supposed to air, and they hadn't even done like the animation for it yet. They just had the script, and it was 2 weeks out. And I remember thinking to myself, like, what? Like this is a cartoon. How do you wait a week beforehand to actually draw the thing up? But then I had to remember their animation style, and that's how they do it.
Yeah. They're like I was almost tempted to do like an animated style of us in South Park for this. I don't have the strength or the time to do that.
They had a generator online where you could custom make your own character, but I don't know if it's still around anymore.
Yeah, but to animate it and do the video, it's like, no.
Well, not the video, just do a still of us.
No, I don't want to do a still. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to go all out. Just to challenge myself, but I don't have the strength.
Well, I'll send you guys the characters I made in the chat as soon as I get back on the computer.
Did you just sit there and make characters of us already? Or
no, this was back during that season that I watched like fully. I went on and I made like a bunch of characters of myself and like different people that I knew.
I thought you were saying you made them while you were watching the movie.
Oh no.
Oh, that would have been better.
I know, but at the same time, I don't know if the website was still up.
And then you have the question.
Sure.
Then you have the question of, do I give Alan a beard or not? Because he doesn't have one right now, but it's coming back. And
I'd give you a beard. It'd be a little shorter than normal.
Give him a mustache.
Give him a mustache. Yeah, never do that again.
I miss that. I miss it.
Yeah.
I mean, to Ryan's point, the South Park episode that like showed off their like turnaround time, the best one was the episode called About Last Night, and it was the one the day that released the day after Obama got elected about Obama being elected.
And
it
I
was
believe,
the one that you had mentioned.
Yeah, it was the jewel heist one, and they must have had like 4 or 5 different scripts written. For different outcomes of that election, because it was like I could definitely see where they just had one giant narrative and they had maybe 3 or 4 parts of the episode that they could change regarding of what happened. And it was just, it was great.
Yeah.
One of their best episodes,
I never got your
in my
answer.
opinion.
What was your favorite satire in this?
The whole parents thing, just like Alan was saying. Because I feel like that still happens. There's still a lot of like people get upset about content and things people say in shows. And it's like, TV ratings are there for a reason. Like if something has a 14 or an MA on it or an 18, like there's a reason for it.
An R rating.
An R rating for movies. Like, it's like there's a reason why they're there. You've got to be responsible enough to make sure you know what your kids are watching. If you believe a show isn't appropriate, you do what Alan's parents did and tell them, no, you're not going to watch that show. You do what my dad did to me when I was younger and said, no, you're not going to have that Rob Zombie CD until you get older.
Rob Zombie?
To be fair, though, my parents told me not to watch The Simpsons, too, and I still did.
Well, I know, but still, I'm just saying, but at least they didn't write Fox and be like, hey, you should shut the show down. They said, Alan, we don't want you to watch this. Like, they took responsibility for being parents.
And in my defense, I got Fox in my bedroom. I did not get Comedy Central, so.
That's fine. I did,
Good.
but then again, I was the only child, so.
Yeah. Eventually I did. Yeah.
So I think my favorite satire of this was Cartman's V-chip, where he couldn't swear.
Oh,
Because
that was
I
great,
liked
too.
that.
I liked it because I liked the fact that him not being able to swear made him want to swear, and it literally gave those words power. Like that's how he beats Satan at the end, is by using all the swear words. But
And
like,
Barbra
I love that they
Streisand.
throw Barbra Streisand in there as a swear word.
That was probably my favorite joke of the whole thing. Like it just caught me off guard. I was like, what? Okay.
Right.
At this point in my life, the only thing that, when anybody ever brings her up, the only thing I can think of is Barbra Streisand on South Park going, "I'm Barbra Streisand." Like that's the only thing I can think of whenever anybody says her name. That's all I think of is her on South Park, her character screaming, saying, "I'm Barbra Streisand."
You know what I think of when I hear Barbra Streisand?
What?
Devin, remember when you took me to the Tonight Show for my bachelor party and we got cut off right at the end of the standby line? The night Barbra Streisand was on the show.
I know. That's right. We just missed her.
Because we were just making jokes in line like, what kind of bachelor party is this if we're going to see Barbra Streisand on Fallon? Like,
Guys, we party hard.
yeah.
Yeah, you went to Fallon. That's real hard party.
We didn't. We got cut off. We were in the standby line and the two people in front of us got to go. We were the end of the line.
It was the fact that
Yep.
you guys waited in line to see Fallon. So question is, did you get hammered before
would've been
or
super
after?
After.
After. That's
Definitely
the night.
after.
That's the night I blacked out.
Okay, so did you drink because you guys realized that? Did you drink that hard because you guys got cut off to not see Fallon, or did you drink because, oh my God, we waited in line to see Fallon, we need to drink to forget about
So
this?
what
Like,
happened
was
was
it?
that night it was just me and Devin at the Airbnb. Everyone else is coming in.
Yeah.
So we had a bunch of liquor and Hulu. So we played a game where this is going back to Simpsons and Family Guy.
Geez, yeah, I remember
We
this.
played a game where you pick a character because those shows and South Park are known
yeah.
for having a variety of characters in this world,
Oh yeah.
and they're just part of the pop culture.
Mhm.
So you pick a character, and the first time that character has a joke, you have to finish your drink. So I picked Ralph Wiggum for The Simpsons. First minute of the episode, Ralph Wiggum had a joke. It's like, son of a bitch. So I was drinking Fireball. Oh, no, not Fireball. It was Fired Jack Daniels. So cinnamon Jack
Ooh.
Daniels and
Yeah.
apple cider.
Ooh.
Like a whole pint glass of that.
Yeah.
Had to finish it. Got through the episodes. Okay, we're going to move on to Family Guy. I picked
Yep.
Naked, Greased Up Deaf Guy.
Yeah.
Guess who showed up in the first 2 minutes of the episode? Oh, man.
That's great.
That was a night.
That's great.
That was a good night. I remember that. That's when I famously, Chad, friend of the podcast, had a whole conversation with me after we played that game that I don't remember, but he does, and apparently it was great.
Yeah. I kind of remember Chad coming in. I just also remember passing out in my bed. Like,
Yeah, which is the smart thing to do.
That's the only time I've ever blacked out drinking.
Well, I'm glad
So-
The Simpsons and Family Guy could have helped you with that.
Yes. In New Jersey, of all places.
Yeah, right. All right, so I feel like in this episode and in life in general, South Park, Family Guy, and Simpsons all kind of get lumped into this category of like adult animated humor, and they're kind of the big three. Like Futurama was huge, like American Dad was huge, but I feel like these are the three that have lasted the longest and have kind of the most staying power in society. Which one of them do you like the most, and why? It might be tough.
I want to hear Ryan's answer.
Futurama, of course.
Futurama is interesting because it didn't have. It's not on the air, but it still has like the fans. It's in syndication.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
and it's not really affected by it not being on the air.
Exactly.
Right.
But to realistically answer Devin's question, out of it was Simpsons, South Park, and Family Guy.
Yeah,
the
they're
three
like
that
the
you-
three that like everyone
Okay.
kind of compares and lumps together.
To be honest, it's a photo finish between The Simpsons and South Park.
Okay.
and I haven't seen the picture yet to know which one won. Like, that's my like position on that. Family Guy for me stopped being relevant after the 4th season. It's really hard for me to watch an episode after season 4, because I don't know if there was like there was probably like like the writing cast changed, or they got a different something. It's just because like the jokes started to fall flat. I felt like they were reaching too much. And that's another reason why one of my favorite episodes of South Park is the one where they talk about the manatees making the jokes for South Park. I mean, the manatees making the jokes for Family Guy.
For Family Guy.
Yeah, because it was like a random ball for a situation, 2 random balls for two different characters, a random setting, and then a random pop culture reference or something like that. And then that's how they would get their joke.
You just mix them together for a cutaway.
Yeah.
The cutaways. I'm too old for the cutaways now. Like, they're too distracting. They rely on them too much for the show. Like, there's nothing really.
Yeah.
Like, some of them are good, but I stopped watching in college.
Yeah.
Like, occasionally, like, I think the last episode I actually watched when it aired was when they did the crossover with The Simpsons.
Oh, that's right.
I
liked that.
I totally forgot that they did the crossover.
Yeah. I think around the time where they did the 3rd Star Wars parody, I was like, okay, this is... I don't need to see this anymore.
Yeah. I have the first 2 Star Wars parodies.
The first 2 were great, but Blue Harvest was just like, yeah, we don't want to do this. And you could tell. You could tell they were just...
I think they even said it halfway through.
They did. I think it said it in the crawl. Like...
I think they did. I think you're right.
And I'm wondering how long it's going to take for those to disappear with Disney.
You think they will?
Disney owns Fox.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Disney owns Fox.
Well, guess what?
So.
If they disappear, I have them on DVD.
Okay, that's good to know.
That's true.
I mean, Lucasfilm made that whole Seth Green Star Wars show disappear. So,
what, the Robot Chicken one?
Not the Robot Chicken episodes. It was called Star Wars Detours. And there was a trailer out for it.
I remember that.
And they had like a full season and a half completed. And it's never seen the light of day.
I want it now. I don't know why, but I just want it.
I feel like it's something that they might put out on Disney Plus down the line.
So what was it? Was it like supposed to be funny Star Wars, or like?
Yeah, it was like a Star Wars comedy. So
okay,
I think
fine.
Seth Green said something along the lines of they didn't want to oversaturate the market with Star Wars stuff to kids who don't know these characters and make a joke out of them. Like, if you're making Darth Vader jokes, like, yeah, I completely understand why.
Yeah.
Okay, so my answer to your question is by far The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Looking at my wall in front of me, I have maybe 10 pieces of art on the wall, and 4 of them are The Simpsons.
So, I love that. Good.
It's something, especially the earlier episodes of The Simpsons. So, like, the monorail episodes, the early Sideshow Bob episodes, Treehouse
Where Conan was a writer.
Conan was a writer. It's just the character, like, everyone has their niche, and like the musical numbers are fantastic. They're maybe not Broadway quality, but they're just so much fun because everyone plays their part. No one's ever asked me, why do you love The Simpsons so much? And I've had to give like a specific answer. I just do. I grew up with it. It's ingrained in me. So
yeah, it's just part of you.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's my answer for Futurama, because it's one of those things that I watched when I was younger, and it just like, it's the jokes. It's part of who I am.
20 years from now, somebody will be answering the same questions and say Disenchantment.
You think so?
Probably not.
Oh, see, I heard it wasn't that great.
I watched a little bit of it. It was okay. I just haven't had a chance to dive into it.
Like, really dive in. Yeah.
The Netflix show.
Disenchantment. Yes. No. I think so. I've seen both seasons. I like them. I don't like it as much as I liked Futurama, but it's definitely funny. And I can't wait for the next season to come out because of where they left the second one.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I can kind of see people say that about this because, like, The Simpsons, Futurama, they attract a different type of fan base for each show. Because you can have somebody who really likes Futurama and is like, The Simpsons. And you can have somebody who's The Simpsons, but, you know, like, that'll really like The Simpsons and go, Futurama. And that's fine because it's a taste thing. And I feel like Disenchantment really falls in that category where, like, you'll have somebody who really likes that one and it's like, oh, I'll give Futurama a try, and go, I like Elfo. I don't like Bender. Like, you know, it's just that humor.
Thinking about it a little bit more, I think The Simpsons for me is just smart jokes. Like, whether it's just a quick line that Lisa says in response to Bart, or Homer's line in a song where he's just like, Mono, don't! Like, when everyone else stops singing. Like, it's just really smart jokes that don't take away from anything. They just are quick and they're there. Whereas Family Guy is just kind of like, here's a joke right in your face. And it
might not be the smartest joke, but we're doing a lot of them.
We've shit a little bit on Family Guy, but I will say, just like I said with South Park, I respect the shit out of Seth MacFarlane because he's doing all of those voices on Family Guy and American Dad, and he's on the Orville. I completely respect the show for what it is. Right now, it's just not for me to watch all the time. If I get really bored and it's on like TBS, sure, I'll watch it. Like, if it's
just your least favorite of the three.
No, I would say South Park is my least favorite.
South Park is, oh wow.
Just because I don't have the exposure to it. Like, it's not one that I've actually sat down and watched. But now that I've seen the movie, if it's on or they make a newsworthy episode like they did a few weeks ago with China, I'll probably check it out.
Oh yeah.
So
I got to find out which season it was, the one that I really, really liked, and I believe that was like their best season. I got to find out which season it was and point you in that direction of that, because that one, like, all of their episodes were just like one after the other, like, perfect. The one thing, the one gag I liked that South Park did the most was it was after they won an Emmy. And they had a show with Bono, and during every single potty joke and poop joke and sex joke that they did, they had a little thing at the bottom with 2 Emmys circling, and at the bottom it said, "This show won an Emmy." And I think the most iconic scene from that show is Bono taking a giant dump, or somebody's taking a giant dump, and they're spinning up off the toilet. And at the bottom, you have the Emmys spinning. And it says, "This show won an Emmy," like, flashing. Like, they always do stuff like that. Like, they make fun of themselves. They never take themselves too seriously. And I feel like that's the appeal to the show. And they make fun of everyone. They just don't make fun of the right. They don't just make fun of the left. They don't just make fun of certain celebrities. They make fun of everybody equally.
Which I love.
Yeah.
I mean, I think of the three, South Park is my favorite. Like, and really, like, the biggest reason of it is especially why I like it nowadays. So, I mean, older South Park was kind of irreverent, kind of potty humor. I mean, it was a little bit worse than it was now. It's like, hey, guess what would be funny in an episode? This thing? Let's do it because we can. Now it's very much social commentary, to the point where some of their commentary is like my favorite take on that particular thing. So, like, 2 episodes ago or 3 episodes ago, they had a whole episode about fake meat, and about, like, the whole, like, you know, Impossible Burger craze. And they brought in, have you guys ever seen There Will Be Blood?
Yeah.
They brought in a character like Daniel Plainview from There Will Be Blood, and he was the one peddling the Impossible meat. And, like, that whole, like, their whole point that they made about the Impossible meat and all of that stuff is just my favorite take on it now. And I think they get a lot of stuff very right, and they're very, like, funny in their satire and very smart about their satire. And I think that's what I appreciate the most about South Park, is I like the satire aspect, because I like it when you can go just beneath the surface and, like, oh, they're really talking about this. Like, I like that.
I kind of want to ask you what their take is,
Yeah.
At the same time, I can just go watch that episode. So I think I'm going to go
That's
watch
true.
that episode.
I would. I
You
definitely
can
it's a
message
good
me
one.
what they meant. You can.
What's
Since
up?
Alan doesn't want to know, you can message me what they were getting at.
I'll message you what they meant.
Because I'm,
But-
to be honest, I'm a huge fan of the the Impossible Whopper.
Yeah.
I really
Oh yeah,
am.
I haven't had it yet.
I absolutely love it.
They have started to sell that meat at Giant now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, in burger form and just like to buy. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I absolutely love it, and it's because of it's what I do. Like I drive around all day. I'm a service tech, and if I forget to make my lunch, or that morning because I woke up late, if there's a Burger King nearby, like I can go and get a Whopper, and I'm full, but I'm not sluggish full. Like I'm just full, and I'm fine because I didn't eat any meat, and it's all vegetables, and I'm good. And they also have Coke Zeros, and I'm a fan of Coke Zero. So there we go.
Oh, nice.
So the only bad calories I take in are the French fries.
See, Burger King, I go onion rings every time.
Oh, okay.
Onion rings. Oh, those sound so good.
Yeah.
I could use those right now.
I might go to Burger King after we're done recording this.
Is there one close to you?
Yeah,
right down the
shit.
street.
Oh, I don't remember that.
You don't remember that? Because I remember one time at band camp. Oh my God.
Oh,
Talk about
no.
American Pie. You,
Yeah.
me, and a friend of the show, Brett, drove to Burger King in Shippensburg and then back to band camp on lunch break.
We did do that. I remember that. Oh, a friend of the show, Brett. I hope you're listening.
Yeah, he's not.
He's not. No, he's not.
We're lucky if my niece is listening at this point.
Yeah, that's true though.
She must be really bored if she is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really
So
want
all
to
I have
do that.
left are just like a litany of facts for you guys because I just like this movie and know all of the facts.
All right, hit
But
me.
do you guys have anything else that you guys want to bring up?
No,
I mean,
pretty much
yeah.
good.
CinemaSin said that this is their favorite musical for the past 20 years.
One of their favorite.
One of their favorite.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right. Do you guys agree?
What are other musicals of the last 20 years?
9, Chicago. Let's see. When was the remake of Hairspray made?
Like 2005.
Okay, that's a better musical than this.
Oh, really?
And so is 9.
I've never seen it.
And so is Chicago.
I've never seen 9. Best original musical.
I mean, technically it's original. They're making a movie based off an original play or musical. So, I mean, it's technically an original storyline.
Which one?
All 3.
My problem with Chicago and Hairspray is they're based on the Broadway musical. 9, I think, might be original.
See, to me, if it's a musical and it's on a movie,
Best
like
animated musical. How's that?
that's
not
way that is really too far of a niche for me to say anything
It's
about.
one of their favorites.
That's fine. I just wanted.
You know what?
It's one of their favorites. That makes me feel better because if they said that this was their favorite,
They
that's a
did a
different
thing
story.
where they went through and ranked all the movies of the best movies of the years that
Yeah.
they were alive. And I feel like this was very close to winning 1999.
Okay.
But there were so many things in 1999 that it didn't stand a chance.
Well, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's such a stacked year.
It really is. It was this one and Pokemon the first movie.
Yeah, it's this. And
I went to go see that. I have the Pokemon
Me
card
too.
from that. I have,
You got the
I have the
card?
Mewtwo card. Yeah,
Yeah, I do
I
too.
still
Yep.
have it.
oh,
I mean, I think it wins it for like one of the best animated musicals, I'd say. But I don't know about musicals. But okay, I have a good barometer for us. Better or worse than La La Land?
I'd rather watch this than La La Land. That's why I didn't bring La La Land up when I was naming off musicals.
yeah, I would definitely watch this over La La Land. Not that
Yeah, I
I don't,
think I'm in
not
the
that I
same boat.
hate La La Land. It's just this was more fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm with you.
I can see their sequel being a parody of La La Land, though.
Oh, that would be great. Yep, all right. They got to get on that because now I want it.
Give them 2 weeks; they can come out with it.
Probably 2 weeks, honestly. All right, so like weird random facts that I have just to kind of wrap everything up. This one is in the Guinness Book of World Records as the most cited swear words in a movie with 399. They specifically say the word fuck 199 times. And there are 146 times, 199 offensive gestures, and 221 acts of violence. It was, for the longest time, the highest rating, our highest grossing R-rated movie. And I think Sausage Party beat it out, and then probably all of the superhero movies did. Like, I think Deadpool beat it.
Yeah. Joker has beaten that now, so.
Wait, what has?
Joker.
Oh, right. Joker has beaten it, didn't it?
Yep.
That used to be a really rare category to be, like, best in, though. Like, I feel like R-rated movies are kind of like a new, like, it's new that those are so popular, right?
I think so. I think it has to do with studios wanting to put them out there in these main niches. So, like, Deadpool and Joker, like, those, like, you have Marvel and DC both releasing R-rated movies. They already have that built-in audience. Whereas South Park had that audience. It was probably a lot smaller because it was a TV show that had only been on for 2 or 3 years at that point. But
yeah,
it was a hit and people went to see it. So,
right,
including people that I have a few people that I knew that I was friends with in middle school that their parents took them to see it opening night. So middle school kids going to see this movie on opening night. There was one kid that I knew. Or one guy that I knew. I haven't talked to him in forever, but I remember in 7th grade during homeroom on his birthday, one of our other friends in the group got him a stuffed Cartman, and he carried it around all day.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, his buddy got it for him for his birthday. And, like, nobody made fun of him because it was a middle school kid carrying around Cartman, and that was, like, the TV show that, like, half the kids in the class, their parents didn't allow them to watch. So carrying around a stuffed Cartman was, it was funny.
That is, though. And to be fair, I would be that guy. Like, even like nowadays, like if like Romana gave me a stuffed Cartman in the morning as I was on my way to work, I would carry it around all day, including at work.
I was going to say, I've got a stuffed Krusty and a Bart in my chest here.
I have a stuffed Duff beer can in my room.
I've got that too. That was a gift, though. That was a gift.
Aw. Yeah, I got it from Universal, from Simpsons Land.
Yeah, my brother got me that from Universal.
Aw, that's awesome. Cool. All right. Anything else, guys?
I don't think so.
Trying to think. How did you like how Kenny's death in this?
I liked it. I knew that. I mean, I knew the whole "oh my god, we killed Kenny" thing from the show. I liked that he died twice.
Yep.
And I love Cartman's reaction, like, "Oh my god, I bet him $10 to do that."
Yeah.
And then he did. Now I don't have to pay him. Like, I love that joke.
My favorite one is at the beginning with when Cartman's hitting Kenny with the stick to try to put the fire out, and Kenny falls in the street, and then Cartman looks over and goes, "Oh, my stick is burning!" So instead of trying to put out Kenny, he's trying to put out the fire on the stick, and then the salt truck dumps all the salt on him. Because I remember the whole lighting the fart thing to me is like really ingrained as a joke, is like a 90s joke to a point. Because that was the last episode of Beavis and Butthead. Plot line was that they end up in the hospital, and they're just sitting in the emergency room because Beavis tried to light a fart on fire and he actually did it, and he ended up giving himself like 3rd-degree burns all over his butt. Like,
wow.
So I mean, because Beavis and Butthead was the show that I wasn't supposed to watch that I watched anyway. That show was hysterical. Yeah. Well, because that was on in the early mid-90s, and that's when I was in elementary school going into middle school. So that was definitely a show I wasn't supposed to be watching. But I did anyway. With Celebrity Deathmatch.
See, Beavis and Butthead for me was always that show I wasn't supposed to watch, and then just went, okay. And I've still, like, never watched it. Like, to be fair, I had that same thing about the show Friends. When I was, like 6, I was told, don't like my mom and dad love Friends. They wanted to watch Friends, but I was told it's for mommies and daddies only. So I thought it was like the most raunchy, like vulgar, crazy thing on TV. So for like for 20 some years of my life, I didn't watch it. And then I watched it. I'm like, oh, this is all that was? Got it.
That's a weird one to put your foot down on.
Well, I think
Yeah,
it's because
isn't it?
too. Well, no, I think. How old were you again?
Oh man, I must have been like 6 or something. I was really young.
I'd probably say the same thing, and not because of any of the content, but because I'd want to watch a show that I could laugh and not have to explain every 5 minutes why something was funny.
Yeah.
Because that
I
show
would've
was not
needed a lot
made
of
for
explanation.
anybody under the age of like 14.
I mean, I watched it when I was that age.
What, 6?
Not 6, but like 8,
Pretty
9,
young.
10.
Yeah, but I'm sure then rewatching it when you were older, you got like half the jokes you missed before.
Oh yeah. When I
Yeah.
watched it when it came on Netflix. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, I could definitely see the parents being like, "This is a show we want to sit and enjoy and not be interrupted on," and I'm pretty sure that's why.
Well, I mean, and also I was what you'd call a late bloomer and didn't understand any of that stuff. So like if they ever made like a sex joke or like an offhanded joke, I wouldn't have caught any of it. And then they did not want to explain it all to me.
Yeah.
So I totally get why they wouldn't want to watch it with me.
They just needed a break from you, Devin. That's what it was.
That's really all it was. It's just like Devin go into a different room for a while.
Yeah. All right.
Oh.
Anything else we want to talk about with South Park? Bigger, longer, uncut.
I think I'm good, man. I love this musical. I think everyone should watch it at least once.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah.
I think that's all we've got.
Yeah.
And I think in honor of the title of this movie, I'm not going to edit this episode at all. So
Yes, you better not.
So
It's
if
golden the first time.
if it sounds bad, that's why. I'll make it sound better, but I'm not going to there's really nothing to cut.
No, it was all
So
pure podcast gold, I think.
it was. Yeah. All right. Well, tune in next week when whose turn is it to make somebody watch something? So this was Devin
Ryan's.
right? Yeah, Ryan. Yeah. So Ryan, what are you going to have us watch next week?
Demolition Man.
Demolition Man.
Yes. Oh, I get to finally learn what the 3 shells are.
Yep. All right. So tune in next week when we talk about Demolition Man, a film that Devin and I have not seen. So
Can't wait.
I can't wait for you guys to watch this.
for you have to watch this podcast. I'm Alan,
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
and we'll see you next week.
Off to the movies we shall go, where we learn everything that we know. 'Cause the movies teach us what our parents don't have time to say. And this movie's gonna make our lives complete. 'Cause Terrence and Philip are sweet. Super sweet. Thank God we live in the quiet little redneck podunk white trash. You.